Well, I guess it's a good thing, but once in a while we are going to have bad days, and we didn't have a great day yesterday. I think, for the most part, I guess probably as good as we thought we were going to have, give or take a couple. Yours, if you want it, was horrible, but didn't feel good. Jason's getting him looked at, getting his blood taken. It's not like in Ontario where you can just get them scoped right after. Some places they don't have the vet there to scope them, and couldn't get him scoped yesterday. I suspect he's a little bit under the weather. We'll talk about that in a minute. I flew all the way home. I got here at 4, sat on the tar. I had it planned. I was getting home at 2:30, hopefully miss the Toronto traffic from Pearson Airport, get home, have a couple hours just to relax and have a nap maybe. And then I had a physiotherapy appointment slated for 6 p.m. Maybe get a bite to eat, and then come race and hopefully do good. And virtually every aspect of that plan from today fell apart. The final scene was the horses. They didn't race very good tonight. I think, in fairness, the only horse that wasn't good tonight was Fox Valley Shazam. Wasn't comfortable. I warmed her up and just didn't seem comfortable to me. And I suspect also, one, she had vet work done about 3 weeks ago. Probably should have come back and did those knees again with polyglycan, that left stifle. Probably an oversight on my part. It's easy to say you guys can be as hard as you want on me. Nobody's harder on me than me. When I see a horse race bad that shouldn't, I blame myself every time, whether I drove the horse bad or whether the horse didn't seem to be prepared properly to race. Even in hindsight, it's still my fault, and I'm pretty hard on myself about that. Little pissed off about Fox Valley Shazam, and that's my doing. And there's no way to know unless you go a half and 58 or go a mile with the horse in that type of setting. There's no real way to know. Like Mario schooled Fox Valley Shazam the other day, come out 59 and thought she was good. She wasn't good tonight, and that'll happen. These are 2-year-olds. It will happen. So we'll get her back under control. Let's start with Ohio. I'm going to make a little caveat right here. Every horse that doesn't look like they're going to be really good for us this summer or really good for us next year, I'm going to enter them all in the sale in Ohio. That sale closes in 2 days. Now, like the last sale, any of those horses that they can race their way out of the sale. We had Crazy Mission kind of trained his way out of the sale, but some other horses did that were doing very well. I think it's only fair to everybody. It's fair to us. There has to be some planning and due diligence. I know what took place last year. I relied on inferior horses to do more than they were capable of doing to support our barn. And it's not going to happen. I know Sunday we have it in place now where we are going to buy a horse for the Gold Cup and Saucer on Sunday. Well, I hope we are. I'm not going to overspend just to say I got a horse for the Gold Cup and Saucer. We have a ceiling. I've talked about this in other videos. We have a ceiling that we're going to spend. If it works out good, we're going to buy a horse Sunday for the Gold Cup. And we have another client that's looking for an open type pacer or trotter. Got my eye on a trotter I think I like quite a bit. I think he might be too expensive. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The whole point is we need to understand. I need to understand, and I need to bring it to you, and then in turn our clients have to understand that relying on a Crazy Mission, probably not that smart for the fall. We're going to race him another 2 or 3 times before the sale. If he comes on and looks like he's going to do well in the keep in mind, there was a couple of those horses for the Buckeye looked like sire stake horses last night. 2 of them, both won the last won the last Buckeye also, so they're in the final regardless. Now they're both going to go to the sire stakes. If they're good enough to beat the sire stakes, they can only race in one or the other. But it was brought to my attention last night that they can race in the Consolation and the Buckeye final. So theoretically, if those horses race once in the sire stakes and are first or second or third again, and they're like 16th on the list, they can race in the sire stakes consolation, or the sire stakes consolation. Then, because they have enough points for the Buckeye, race in the Buckeye. That's gluttony, but it'd be great if we were the ones that were doing it. But Crazy Mission raced. I think Crazy Mission raced the best last night. If you were going to say, hey, who raced the best? I think it was Crazy Mission. I was very happy with him. Showed a lot of grit and determination. Won a mile in 59 and 3. Last half had to be 58 and a piece. I thought everybody raced good except for Years If You Want It. He raced horrid. But that's not him. There's got to be something going on there. So, sometimes things happen. Made a break leaving. Got a little pacey as we got close to that turn. He was trying to size that turn up. Got a little pacey and made a break. Not his fault. And then the further we went, the more he was running in. He got running down on those long pastrants that we always talk about. He got running down a little bit. So a little shoe and change behind. Try to keep him off the halves if we can. I think he'd be a lot more comfortable. But there's a horse that's big, got a big, huge frame, got a great attitude and a great engine in him. He might be a horse that might be worth waiting on. But he has to prove himself also. Horses like Bend Over, small colt, he's got a lot to prove in the next little while. I think we have to be aware that if we keep these horses, then we turn them out and we bring them back, are they going to be good for us as a barn? Not just you, not just me. I own pieces of both those horses. But are they going to do the barn good? And I think the answer is probably no. We gave them enough rope. We're going to race them, make some money with them in the Buckeye, and then hopefully maybe a couple of fairs also. But ultimately, anybody that is not going to be a stable.ca 2020 horse and beyond, we really have to take a serious look. Are we going to carry these horses? Do you want to pay the bills on these horses throughout the summer, throughout the fall, and then when we put them away, then when we train them back? Well, you know what it costs, right? It's going to cost you $25.75 a month. By the time they race, it'll be end of March, April. So let's say April, March, February, January, December, November, October. September. If we don't sell those horses, you're in for about another $18,000. Just bare bones training fees. And you guys know that I treat your money like it's mine, and I can't do that. So we need to take a serious look as a group, as a collective group, take a serious look at who is going to be good for the stable and who's not. We already know there's going to be a bunch more yearlings coming in from breeders. We already know we're going to buy horses at the sale. We have some extremely talented 2-year-olds. You know that, and I know that. So which ones are we going to focus on? Anyway, sometimes things happen. I'd like to see how he does over the next 2 stake races. These are horses, probably enter them in the sale. I don't think sometimes things happen. We'll go, cost $170 to enter them in the sale, and we get 4 weeks to make up our mind. So I think it's a pretty good time frame. We change our mind, fine. We're at $170. Not the end of the world. Sometimes things happen. Raced well after he made a break. 2-2 last half in a minute, last quarter, and 30 and 2 for a horse running in and made a break leaving. It's not too shabby. I was pretty happy with him. I kept going over it in my mind. Is there anything I could have done differently? I really didn't go out of there that hard. The rail horse was clearly going to be on the front. I was just going to let him float over into the 2-hole. I could feel him start to kind of set himself up for the turn. He just got a little pacey and run. Little shoe and change. I think he'll be much, much better. Bend Over, did all he could last half in like 58, a mile and 59. That's a good mile for a 2-year-old trotting colt. Yours If You Want It was terrible. 2-1. I don't want to talk much about him until I know what went on. He wasn't awesome in Scioto. In fact, he was kind of flat in Scioto, but he was really all sorts of terrible last night. And we need to get to that. It wasn't lame or anything like that. Just felt physically ill-equipped to do his. I'm gonna move out of the way here for Doug. Just looked physically ill-equipped to do his job last night. So we need to get to the bottom of what mechanically went wrong and how do we fix that. I'm sure it's an easy fix, but we need to figure it out quickly. Rose Run Valiant. He was interfering a little bit last night. He wears those flip-flops up front. I don't think at racing speed he's super comfortable with the flip-flops on. So we're gonna take those off, make a little shoeing change with him. I think you'll see night and day. He'll be a much better horse next time we race him. Wasn't the only horses that were mediocre yesterday. We had a couple of races in New York. Now, Arctic Force was just unimpressive. A lot like Yours If You Want It was. Here's a horse that looks so good in the qualifiers and looks so bad since he's been in New York. And I get a lot of hate mail right now, a lot of emails with, why do we still have horses with Scott? Why are we racing horses with Scott? Sorry about that. And as I told you, Scott's a great trainer. If we did this every time everybody overreacted, we started moving the horses around, we'd have no trainers at all because, You know, these guys are professionals. Now you see Kevin McMaster's having a lot of luck with our horses, especially Need Your Opinion, Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. These are the same, you know, this is the same group mentality that wanted to move horses from Kevin at one point also. Harry, Jason, we've gone through this, and Scott DiDomenico is the third leading trainer in North America. If the horses weren't good, maybe they just weren't ready to race against those horses in that way. I thought they were, certainly looked like they were. We have them both home now. They're coming back tomorrow. Brush Cut, I had told Mark before, I said, listen, he jumped on his foot. Usually when horses run over their foot, right, and they do it all the time, crossfire, make a break, whatever, they'll be like taking the top off your toe, right? Hurts for a couple of days, really sore, and that's how they look. They usually get over that. Mark warmed him up, said he wasn't that sound. I said, if he's too lame, just scratch him. I don't want to hurt the horse over a stupid, cut on his foot. So he post-braided him, and he told me after, he said he wasn't that bad in the post-braid, but he hit it again. The same place, which is very rare. I feel like, it was very frustrating anyway. So Mark scratched him, which I'm happy. I'm happy he did. And he's coming home also, Brush Cut. We'll get him fixed up, no problem. I think what we'll probably do is go easy with those colts for a couple of weeks. Give them a couple of starts at Mohawk. And that might even change. You might turn them out for a month, bring them back and race them a couple of times throughout late summer, early fall. I mean, the speed is still there. Just as you can imagine, getting beat up for a couple of weeks at the track, then Brush Cut's case, coming back, training good at the farm, jumping on your foot, cut your foot open, going all the way to New York, warming up twice, being scratched. And then Arctic Force, just weak. I don't know what the hell went on with him, but he looked weak. Not happy with the outcome of either of those two situations, but that's racing. And, now everybody gets a look at, when you talk about trajectories with horses, not just how frail the horses are, we've seen that, but how frail their racing careers can be, especially these young horses. A couple of them come out swinging, right? The fillies in Ohio last week couldn't have been any better, really. And then you look at the colts, Yours If You Want It raced poorly. Rosarin Valiant, kind of so-so. I think we can fix him. Bend Over, Crazy Mission. These are things. And the win by Sometimes Things Happen was the other side of that. Equally impressive. The week before, we didn't really know. If you had to finish second or third, you'd be like, hey, Sticks race good. Went out and won and looked good doing it. That's how racing is. But, when they go down that path and just hit a couple of speed bumps and can't recover, it's very, very frustrating to watch. I know as the owners and my partners on these horses, you know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't mean that Arctic Force and Brush, they're certainly not going in the sale or anything like that. These are two very talented colts. We just have to let them become horses again. They've had a rough start to their career. Let them find themselves again, and that's what we're going to do. Then we race tonight, so I get off. I'll set up tonight. My flight was perfect, went to Chicago. So I have a lot of connecting flights, and I tell our clients I don't mind connecting flights. When I'm driving, I can't do my work. It's dangerous. I certainly can't read texts and write emails when I'm driving. And when I'm flying and I have a connecting flight, I can sit down, collect my thoughts, answer my emails, my texts, have a bite to eat, maybe have a beer, and just relax and let my engines cool down, and then catch the next flight, maybe catch some sleep if it's a couple-hour flight, get home, and away you go. So today, I catch my flight from Cleveland. Get on my flight, no problem. Fly to Chicago. Catch my next flight, couple of minute delays, a maintenance thing on the plane, no problem. Get on the plane. We're taxiing out to the runway. Engine shut down. Like the pilot shut them down. Sorry, everybody. There's a ground stoppage in Toronto. We're going to stay on the plane for an hour. If they change their minds, then we're going to take off. So everybody's saying the same thing. We're going to sit in this tin can for an hour, and then they're going to tell us to get off and cancel the flight or something. I'm like, oh my God. But now, remember I told you at the start of the video that 2 minutes, that 2 hours I had in the afternoon, I wanted to have a nap, gone. So now I want to make my physiotherapy appointment 6 o'clock. I haven't seen him in 5-6 days, and I want an update on my arm because I need an independent look. How do the tendons feel? Are you happy with the motion? Is it better? Is it worse? And although it's my arm, I can't really answer that because it's on the end of my hand, my hand's on the end of my arm, and I don't know. It feels like it's better, but is it? So I made my we get here. I get off the plane at 4:45. 4:45 in Toronto traffic. I take the 407 and some back roads. I get to my physiotherapy. It's a block from my house. I get there 2 minutes to 6. I haven't even seen my family yet, and I saw my physiotherapist. I get the work done on my arm, and both of them, and get home. Don't have time to eat or anything. Ate the slop here in the kitchen, and came and warmed up Fox Valley Shazam. I come off the track, and I'm like, yeah. At this point, I had already watched Mario finish 6th with. She was outmatched. Enjoying my life. Probably should have raced her in the grassroots. That's my fault. I could have stepped in and said, no, I know the owners that own this horse wanted her in the gold, and Mario thought she was a gold filly. So did I, but in hindsight, Jesus Christ, you should have just... Anyway, this is why hindsight should be banned from horse racing, but we opted for the gold. She finished 6th. Raced Dazzle in the gold, finished 6th. I warm up Fox Valley Shazam. She doesn't warm up as good as she did at the qualifiers. Change a few things. I warm her up again. Wotan Racer, she just wasn't comfortable, and she made a break finally coming to the last turn, but she was out of it anyway. So that goes to show, as good as things can run hot, they can run really cold. Fox Valley Shazam, I think just minor tweaking, we can get her back under control. Probably need to do a little vet work on her. Not a big deal. Sometimes with these 2-year-olds, when you do the work on them, you should come back 2-3 weeks later and do it again. Mario felt that she schooled great. It was unnecessary to do the work again. And I agreed with him that day. But now again, with hindsight being what it is, probably should have went back and done it. So Fox Valley Shazam, Time will Dazzle, and Enjoy My Life will all start in the grassroots or next start. I think they'll probably obliterate them. I shouldn't say that. The grassroots fillies are no joke either. It's like saying, Sebastian Yu and Willpower Fashion will win Monday. I think they will. I don't quite think they're at that sire stake level yet, but I think they're going towards it. But a lot of people have nice horses too, so they'll drop into the grassroots division next time. We'll get Fox Valley Shazam patched up. I think I already have a sneaky suspicion what the issue is. Nothing serious. We can get that done. Not a very fruitful what day is today? Thursday or Wednesday for us. Sure, the horses were okay, 3rds and 4ths last night, picked up checks, but raised some serious questions about the end of 2019, the start of 2020 for those horses in particular. Arctic Force and Brushcut need to come home to dad, need to relax and take some time off. Remember, there's lots of fall racing too, so they can take a few weeks off and freshen up. If we get them back and they're hanging their head, I'm going to send them right out to the farm to eat all the grass they want to eat for a couple of weeks. And then Arvika, we didn't talk about Arvika. Arvika raced good tonight for being off 2 weeks. You could see the difference. I could see the difference in her gait. This was a filly I had to nurse off the gate last week. I didn't have to nurse her tonight. She crossed over in 2 steps. 55. She just raced. She's 56 trotter right now. I think she needs to go back to Georgian Downs and maybe Kawartha next weekend if I'm back. Something tells me I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm in Cleveland. But, the race she is now, anybody can drive her. She was great tonight. And then the other fillies go to the grassroots. So, for all of you, I made some promises last week. I said that I would go drive Frontier Cruise on Tuesday. I said to our other clients that I would drive Delcrest Star Angel on Tuesday. Like, I haven't cloned myself yet. They still won't let me. So, Frontier, now the reason I say this is because I also made a promise that I would drive Haley Blue Chip her next start in a stake race. They go for $52,000 at Yonkers, and I have to go there. She didn't race very good last week when I didn't drive her. I know her really, really well. I won with her in Buffalo, and she just looked lackluster in Tioga, so I'm going to go drive her in Yonkers. I suspect James. I talked to Mario. Mario doesn't want to drive Frontier Cruise, and I don't blame him. And Mario takes his job very seriously also. There was no, geez, Mario, I got some bad news for you. It's like, hey, you can't drive it. Okay, who are we going to list, James? Mario knows, and I'm glad to see that because that puts a driver in a tough spot. So good for Mario for doing that. James or Jody will probably drive Frontier Cruise on Tuesday. Jody was listed on Delcrest Star Angel. He's not going. We need a driver for Delcrest Star Angel. That's the problem, is they have the pacing colts here and the trotting fillies in Georgian. You're not going to get Sylvain told me he's not going. Jody told me he's not going. I know James isn't going. Maybe Phil's going. He said good luck with our horses this week. Anyway, so I can't go to drive Delcrest. I cannot drive. I'll play it alone. I hope James picks this horse. I can't drive. I'll play it alone here. And I can't drive Frontier Cruise. But for the other people I promised, and I apologize, but I didn't. When I made all these promises, I didn't realize they all fell on the same day. It was an honest mistake. I will go drive Really Blue Chip in Yonkers on Tuesday evening. Wednesday, you'll love this. So Ollie said to me today it's his birthday next week, Sunday the 21st, and we're in Ohio and Pennsylvania all next week. Ollie said, I want to go to Pennsylvania for my birthday, or Ohio for my birthday. He loves Ohio. I said, how about this? We have Overdue Mission and Susie K in some obscure fair somewhere between here and Cleveland. You want to go to a fair where they have rides and games and corn on the cob and stuff? And he said, yeah, that'd be great. So I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to see if I can't get myself killed at a fair, on Wednesday. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the fair. Overdue Mission and Susie K, or as the announcer called her, Susiak, are going to race in a fair Wednesday. Then this is where it gets dicey for me. Thursday, I'm going to fly to Philadelphia. It's a long drive, but 7 hours. Can't do it. So I'm going to fly to Philadelphia and drive as many of our grassroots horses, our Stallion Series fillies, as I can. I think we have 4 entered. Now, the reason I say as many, I have a flight. Follow me. I have a flight, a 3:20 flight out of Philadelphia. The airport from Philadelphia, Harris Philly Racetrack, is 12 minutes. I have a flight at 3:20 from Philadelphia, takes me to Ohio to get to Columbus. I'll be in Columbus at 5:15. I have to sign in to drive in Columbus for an early race. I would have to be there around 5:30, but I think the race secretary is going to push me back. So I need to speak to the race secretaries, get them to enter the Ohio horses in later that I'm driving, Globetrotting and Ailsund, and the Pennsylvania horses at Philly in early. I know the race secretary in Ohio. I'm sure he'll help out. I don't know anybody in Philly, so I'm hoping there's some goodwill there, because the very next day, I have to do the same thing. I have to fly to Philadelphia to drive Knockdown Dragout and Harness AM, and fly back to Ohio that night to drive, yes, West 52nd and Emerald Miss. Somebody said Emerald Miss probably should win the Buckeye Series. Maybe. She's not racing on a half unless we have to. She's racing in Scioto in the Sire Stakes. The horse that raced the other night was not Emerald Miss. It was another horse with the same name. And I think Jason will have her well under control for her Friday race. I would like to race her in the Buckeye, but not on a half. We're going to race on a 5/8 as much as we can until we get her completely comfortable with, excuse me, I don't know why I'm tired. Until we get her completely comfortable with, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm sitting in the parking lot of Mohawk. My wife's wondering where I am. She hasn't seen me in 5 days. What was I saying? I don't know. Ohio, Philadelphia. So I'm going to, Thursday afternoon, Philadelphia, 3 o'clock flight back to Columbus, Scioto. 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. Get to Philadelphia 10 o'clock to race, because there's post times there. 12. I can do it. If they put any of the horses in early, I'm laughing, because 3 o'clock flight's no problem. That's race 10 is 3 o'clock. I would only have to be at the airport because it's not an international flight at 2 o'clock. That's race 7. All they have to do is get our horses in before race 7. Shouldn't be a problem. So, Knockdown Dragout, Harness AM Friday. Yes, West 52nd. And Emerald Miss on Friday evening. Saturday we get up. Oso Pine has a Buckeye in Cleveland. Not a big deal, but I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go to a water park with Ollie somewhere on Saturday, and then Sunday we're going to the Cleveland Indians game, and then coming back Sunday evening. That would be Ollie's birthday on Sunday. So a busy week for me. It's going to be busy for a while, but it's really busy this week. Tomorrow I get up at 7 a.m. I'm going to get my hair cut, and then I'm going to fly to New Jersey for Spirit of Dio. 200,000 we race for tomorrow. And then Saturday I'm just going to take I'm going to get off the plane at 5 o'clock, drive down to Georgian Downs, race my boy Just a Tad in race 1, come back home, I get the rest of the night off, maybe get a babysitter and Amy and I can go out for a bite to eat. And then Sunday, I think I have the day off. I don't know, maybe I don't. Anyway, that's what went on yesterday, that's what went on today, tomorrow, and the rest of the week. No real, I don't think anybody was disgustingly bad. Yours If You Want It was bad. Fox Valley Shazam just wasn't herself. Two different, same results in some case. I guess the other horse is fourth, but two different directions. Fox Valley Shazam wasn't right tonight, but will be right soon. Again, keep in mind, I know it's easy for somebody to say, well, why wouldn't you do the work? Why wouldn't you do this? Why wouldn't you do that? These are 2-year-old fillies. Just take your time. It's a long year. This is the first stake race of the year. They're done racing potentially in October. Just relax. We'll get Fox Valley Shazam under control. To get Time Will Dazzle and Enjoy My Life's not hard to get them under control. They just need to go back in the grassroots or go to the grassroots for a little while. Or Vicka, got to find a little B track with her. I'm sure Georgia next week or something will be just fine for her. Different horse tonight. Back to the way we had her before she left to New York. She was great tonight. Trotted great. Left good. Very comfortable. Just get out trotted. Keep in mind she was off 2 weeks also. Get out trotted down the lane. Brushcut and Arctic Force are going to come back. We're going to take a look at them. May turn them out in the field for a couple of weeks, but they're going to stay in Canada for a little while. And then, obviously, the Ohio Colts. Not as good as the fillies, but Roseron Valiant, I think, will be better as next start. Yours If You Want It has to be better as next start. We're going to find out what's going on with him. Bend Over and Crazy Mission are doing the best they can, as is sometimes things happen. So a long video for 48 hours. I apologize. I want to make sure everybody got their information. In case I forget to email it out, somebody had asked, how is Zeb Sunshine? Fine. I told everybody he schooled on Tuesday. I was incorrect because I hadn't talked to Mario yet about how he went. He's schooling tomorrow morning. So if you're in the area, Zeb Sunshine's going to go a mile and 59, 2 minutes tomorrow with Mario Bergeron at Mohawk. Any other questions, feel free. I've been good at, as I said, these layovers give me a lot of time to reach out to everybody and make sure they get all their information. So hopefully we're doing a better job this summer than last and getting everybody their information. If there's anything you need to know, drop me a line, phone me, send me an email. I'll make sure I get right back to you. Hope you guys are having a great summer. Obviously, we still are having a fantastic summer. These things happen and they'll come back. We are going to be buying a horse for the Gold Cup and Saucer, I believe, on Sunday. I'll let you know after that. If we don't, we have a couple other lines on horses we're looking at. Still a lot going on. I'm still thinking ahead to February or to November and December. No repeats of last year. I told you that wouldn't happen again, and it won't. I'll make sure of it. Anyway, take care. Thanks everybody for the kind words and the nice gestures. It's always great hearing from you, and I will be talking to you soon.